Right, we got a quick update on Brexit here, or at least claims of how it's going. If appearances are to be believed, it might be the one thing this government is actually doing right, along with defunding the BBC, though that is technically a private member's bill by a backbencher, not government ministers. But either way, they are all in power, so it's the same difference. Well, like I said, it would appear that Boris Johnson is stating that the EU need to pull their finger out before we leave with a no-deal Brexit. This is obviously relating to their batshit crazy level playing field. Now, if reports are to be believed, he is telling them, drop it or we're off! This is obviously going to be good news if it's true, and Boris sticks to his word and actually leaves on no deal, because we know the EU are not going to drop the level playing field. But the Express picked up on this with the headline, Boris Johnson hands Barnier a simple choice, drop state aid demands or no deal. Boris Johnson has handed the European Union and its chief negotiator one of the clearest Brexit ultimatums yet in trade deal talks between the UK and the EU. Drop your demands on a number of red lines or risk a complete collapse in negotiations and a no-deal Brexit outcome. Which I do feel I need to point out, Boris Johnson said if they didn't have a deal by July it would be a no-deal Brexit, and we're now sitting here in August still talking about it. So obviously take it with a pinch of salt, but like I said, it still could be good news if Boris Johnson actually sticks to his guns. The UK and EU remain deadlocked in post-Brexit trade talks more than 5 months after they started. Mr Barnier last month set a deadline for a deal to be struck by October 31st and for it to be ratified by the European Parliament in time for the transition period deadline on December 31st. Fears of a no-deal Brexit are increasing by the day. Well, like I just said, there's been many a deadline before and they always seem to go past it, so like I said, take it with a massive pinch of salt whenever they say there's a deadline. It continues though, Downing Street has issued one of its biggest warnings yet over a Brexit deal, stating that while it's still possible to agree, it is clear that will not be easy to achieve. The Prime Minister's official spokesman said, we will continue to work hard to reach an agreement and look forward to the next round of talks next week. We believe an agreement is still possible and it is still our goal, but it is clear that it will not be easy to achieve. When asked if there was now a possibility the transition period could be extended beyond this year, which Mr Johnson has repeatedly refused, the spokesman insisted no. Yes, that's because Boris Johnson knows his political career would be over. Yes, he would remain the Prime Minister for a little while, but eventually the Tories would have to kick him out, which, let's be honest, they probably might do anyway at some point. I think the EU continues to insist that we must agree on difficult areas in the negotiations, such as EU state aid, before any further work can be done in any other area of the negotiation, including on legal texts that make it very difficult to make progress. That's because the EU don't want to give us what they want you to cave in like Theresa May did and sell us down the river with Brexit in name only, where we are still in the EU but appear to be out of it for the sake of the people of this country who voted to leave, which obviously can never be allowed to happen. It continues though, we would instead like to settle the simplest issue first in order to build momentum in the talks as time is short for both sides. Mr Barnier travelled to London on Tuesday for further informal Brexit talks with UK negotiating counterpart David Frost. The 8th round of formal negotiations begin next week with pressure on both sides to give ground on one of a number of red lines in order for a crucial breakthrough to be made. Which, no, to be honest, they shouldn't be giving ground. It's kind of obvious with the way that the EU are acting that we hold all the power. At the end of the day, the sooner Boris Johnson acts strong towards the EU, the quicker they will realise that they better capitulate, otherwise it's no deal. Either way, we will be happy because we want the EU to get less than they want, so it's a better deal for Britain, or we want a no deal, which you all know would be my number one option. You can tell by the things that the EU are demanding that they really need us, and obviously we all know that they're absolutely desperate to get their hands on our money and keep as much of it coming into their pockets as they possibly can. Despite what the media might run around and tell people, it is the EU that need us a hell of a lot more than we need them. Boris Johnson needs to stop fucking about, pull his finger out of his arse and tell them to go fuck themselves. You either accept the terms that we are going to give you, or there's no deal, you get no access to fishing and you can go and fuck yourself. I would have said this from day dot if I was him.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr Verhofstadt, against their empires, and that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.